Welcome to Clean Trumpet Technique Lesson 1, Posture, Breathing, and Efficiency. This is where we start building the foundation for you to build upon to play any style of music you want to play with efficiency and being able to play it in a relaxed and enjoyable way. So we're talking about posture, breathing, and efficiency. Let's jump right in with your posture. You know, I think a lot of people don't consider just how important your posture is, whether it is just walking around on a daily basis, but even more importantly, when you are trying to perform a particular task that can be as taxing as playing the trumpet. You know, a lot of people you'll see will be in such an uber extra relaxed place that you wonder how they're getting anything done. If you're sitting back in your chair, you know, if you're just kind of crumpling everything up, letting your shoulders, get the best of you, crumpling up your chest, inward, concave. All of these things are going to be detrimental to your trumpet playing. So a couple of things you're going to want to start adding right away to your clean trumpet technique foundation come directly from your posture. First, I'm going to ask you to start sitting on the front edge of your seat, the front 1/3 of your seat. I'm sitting on a piano bench here, so I'm sitting on the front 1/3, sitting with my feet shoulder width apart, and my knees are at right angles, right? So I'm sitting in a way that's comfortable. It's taking up a lot of physical space. That's for a couple of reasons. One is mental. The trumpet is a very mental instrument, and I think you've noticed, when you have an exposed attack coming up, you've been resting for 20 measures, you pick up the horn to play, and because you've been thinking about it. You probably thought about it when you were going to sleep last night, knowing it was coming in the concert, right? That's just the way we are as trumpet players. The more we can project confidence as musicians, it's very helpful, and it starts with you. If you are projecting confidence, the musicians around you will be confident as well. But it's not just that esoteric, it's also a physical thing. When I'm sitting in such a way as I'm comfortable, and I am sitting in an active way, as I like to call active sitting, I'm also engaging just more of my brain. I'm engaging more of my body. I'm showing my body, I'm showing my inner person that I am about to do something that is important, that requires concentration, that requires my best. And so I'm on the front edge of my seat. My knees are at a 90-degree angle. My feet are shoulder width apart. Now up here, shoulders are going to be back, right? So when I'm playing, my shoulders are back. My sternum is going to be forward when I play as well. So when I put the horn up to play, I've already put my hands in a place where they are set up to succeed. So we're going to talk a lot more about this a couple lessons down the road in efficient fingering. But for now, let's just talk about how to hold the horn well. Your left hand really is just the workhorse, right? It does all of the holding, so this one can come along and be the hero. Your left hand should be able to hold this thing like a toy, right? Solid. Over the years, I have put my fingers in various permutations. When I was younger, I think I used my ring finger here. I have moved over to my middle finger being here in the third valve slide, just because it's a stronger finger, it's longer, I can get more intonation change out of it. So it's what works for me. If you are currently using the other finger, the ring finger, that's okay too. All right, so when you're holding up the horn, holding it parallel to the floor, and your hand comes up with a nice straight and relaxed wrist, your pinky is on the pinky ring. No, it's not inside. We'll talk about that more on another subsequent lesson. And your fingers are naturally curved with your fingertips never leaving the valve caps. So we have good posture. We have a good way to hold the horn. Also, I want to talk about breathing. So when you are breathing, you want to make sure that you're not just taking your regular conversational breath. A lot of times you will play for a little while in a performance or rehearsal and realize to yourself, wow, A, this has not been going well so far, and B, it's because I haven't taken a decent breath yet. Because we take these as normal, just resting breaths. They're very, very shallow. They don't give us very much support, and they don't give us very rich of a buzz from our embouchures either. And so when we take a breath in, we want to take a relaxed and full breath. When I breathe in, I'm making sure that my embouchure or my aperture is closed. Here, you'll see that my lips are together when I breathe in. I got that straight out of the opening pages of the Arbenz book, and it's worked for me for 30 years. It's very, very helpful when attacking notes and wanting to be consistent. So I breathe in through my corners, nice and relaxed. And I breathe out through the aperture or the opening where that buzz is when I'm playing. So do that with me a couple of times. One more time. Okay, well done. You're probably feeling a little bit more focused right now just because you've taken some nice, decent breaths. You're probably feeling a little bit more relaxed and ready to concentrate on the rest of this lesson, right? Been there. Know how it feels. All right, so when I'm breathing, I take this full relaxed breath. Now, the primary place that I'm going to expand when I'm breathing is my belly. It's my tum-tum. So when I'm breathing in, you'll notice that my chest and my shoulders do rise, but they're not the primary area that I'm trying to fill. So what would that look like? It would look like this. Right? That's not what I'm trying to do. I'd be wasting a whole lot of space. When you fill a bottle, you fill it with water from the bottom up, correct? So I'm going to fill this up with air. When I start to see my chest and shoulders start to rise naturally, because that's the next place that needs to be full, I know I've got just about enough air, right? For just your average phrase, your average range. That may change if I'm trying to be extremely quiet or extremely loud, or if I'm in the extreme upper or lower register. But if I'm just playing most of the things that I play, that's plenty of air. Okay, so you relax with a full breath, you expand your belly. Finally, you allow the air to fall into the horn. What do I mean by that? When you are taking a breath, when you take this relaxed breath, you don't want anything in your body to be obstructing it from leaving, right? The only point of contact, the only thing that is keeping that air from just being like water coming out of a shopping bag is right here, okay? And right now, we're going to get to this down the road, but right now we just want to make sure that this is set up in such a way that you breathe correctly and you're able to just blow out into the horn, let the horn take that air and do what it was made to do with it. So check it out. I'm sitting with the posture that we mentioned. I'm sitting with my shoulders back and my chest forward in the front third of my chair. I've got this hand doing the work. I've got this hand, it's brought up to be the hero of notes. All right, so I'll put the horn up to my chops, breathe in. So when I breathe out, I'm just letting the air fall out to the horn. Why, you might ask? Because I'm trying to just make sure that I stay relaxed. Right now, the only job I'm trying to do is get a good habit built. A lot of people have the habit of tightening up so much when they're playing. And that wrecks our third point for this first lesson, which is efficiency. If you're working so hard right here and tighten this all up, there's no way you're going to be working efficiently as a trumpet player. Efficiency, the things that we're going to discuss as we continue in the lessons to come are these things. One, the less movement, the better. The less muscles I'm engaging in order to play well and to get the job done, the better. Why? There's going to be less tension in my body. There's going to be less variables. There's going to be less things that I have to be doing exactly right. So the least things that I can be doing in order to produce what I'm trying to produce on the trumpet is going to make me efficient, it's going to make me consistent, and it's going to make less mistakes happen less times, right? And they're also going to be less dramatic when they do. So less movement, the better. Also, the less effort, the better. That doesn't mean that we just don't try at all. It means it's kind of it's an extension of the first point. The less effort, the better. So we're not trying to just put all of this, tension and just too much trying so hard into every single note. That generally is done in place of having a good technique, of having a good solid foundation, not knowing what's really required to produce a note that you're trying to produce. So the less movement, the better, the less effort, the better, and finally, the more consistent, the better. The more you do everything exactly the same every time, the better off you're going to be. So even though the first set of exercises is just every whole note between low C and C on the staff, don't just skip over it. Yeah, everybody most likely watching this video can do all of those things, all of those notes just fine with no problem. But you got this course to build a good solid foundation, to get rid of the bad habits and replace them with good, efficient habits, right? And so make sure that when you work through each of those whole notes, you are employing all of the things that we've talked about in the lesson. Now remember, also in this module for lesson 1, you're going to find a PDF with the points for everything that I just talked about. So it will remind you what to work on. So a practice day after this first lesson will look like there's an open G in front of you on the page. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to do a mental checkpoint of everything I'm trying to work on. I'm going to sit right. I'm going to hold the horn right. I'm going to breathe right. And then I'm going to let the air fall into the horn and play the most beautiful G I can possibly play. When I'm satisfied with that, I'll go on to the next note on the page. Okay, just like that. Let me show you just a couple more before we close this first lesson, and I set you guys to work. Put it down, go through the process again and teach yourself what you're working on. Everyone, so this is Clean Trumpet Technique, Lesson 1, Posture, Breathing, and Efficiency. Take a time now to practice, to really drive home these concepts, and I'll see you at Lesson 2.